Okay, so let's talk about this playoff situation. Right now, with 8 games left, the Warriors are 38 and 36. They sit a half a game behind the Clippers. That is notable because Paul George is out. We think 2 to 3 weeks minimum. And they're only a game behind the Suns. And as we know, Kevin Durant is out. They are a full game ahead of the Timberwolves. They are a full game ahead of the Thunder. They play both of those upcoming. And they are a full game and a half ahead of the Mavericks, the Lakers, 2 games ahead of the Jazz and the Pelicans. So that's where they stand in the number 6 spot. If the highest they could get is 4, and if they got to 4, they would have the home court advantage in the first round. Realistically, are they able to get to 4? I feel like Phoenix has some rough games coming up. Thankfully for the Warriors, 5 out of their last 8 are home. Is the 4 spot realistic for this team?
I wouldn't say it's unrealistic, but I'm not sure if I'd say it's realistic. What are they? It's just a game, right? It's just a game out of the 4 seed.
There are 2 more losses for the Warriors. They have the same.
They played 2 more games. Yeah, I don't think it's especially like I think Phoenix is gonna have one of those chip on their shoulder games where it's like we feel cheated out of a win, so we're gonna go in and kick the next team's butt. But hey, they've been losing lately. Like they had a close game with Orlando that they almost lost. They lost to OKC. They lost to LA. Like when you give up, when you go trade for Kevin Durant, you have to give up a lot of your core pieces, and they did with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and Jay Crowder, who hadn't played this year. And you get back Kevin Durant, and guess what? Kevin Durant's not playing, so you're still missing KD, Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, and Jay Crowder, and you're going to be worse. So do you have Phoenix's schedule? I feel like we can maybe predict some games.
All right, so here are the next. Well, they only have. Do they have 6? Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4.
No, they should have 6, 7, more.
No, they have 10. They have 10.
Yeah.
Suns Kings tomorrow night.
Oh my God. Is that must watch? That might be must watch television because the Kings are on a 2-game losing streak.
Sixers go into Phoenix after they play the Warriors, but that's both teams are going to be back to back.
Hey, isn't that really quick before you read the rest? I think someone said on a broadcast, because I was listening to the Lakers Suns last night. Someone said something like the Suns have like 4 games in like the next 6 days or something like that. Like they kind of have one of those.
Friday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday. So not quite, but it's Friday, Saturday, then a day off, Monday, day off, Wednesday.
It's 3 games in 5 days.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then after that, then they got the Jazz on Monday. Probably pretty winnable at this point, though. Like I said, the Jazz aren't done. They didn't get right in throwing the
towel yet.
T-Wolves on Wednesday, then the Nuggets on the next Friday, and then the Thunder, and their Thunder are in the mix. But then again, everyone in the West is almost in the mix. They have a gimme with the Spurs, and then they have the Nuggets again. Then they have the Lakers, and then they have the Clippers to end the season.
Wow. If the Nuggets weren't playing so poorly right now, like I would be like, yeah, the Warriors are getting the 4 seed. Got to see the Nuggets twice. I'm going to say that the Suns might lose this Kings game, and they might lose this Sixers game, depending on who plays for the Sixers. Like, I think there's definitely some opportunity for the Warriors to sniff that 4 seed in the next 3 or 4 games, and then we'll see how the Warriors play on the road.
Okay, so my prediction is that the Warriors end the season 43 and 39. That's just, and I'm just basing it on their home road splits for the rest of the season, right? The Suns would only have to win 3 more games
to do better than that.
No, I'm sorry. 5 more games out of their 10. So they'd have to go 5-5, and the Warriors would have to go 5-3 to be tied. And I think Phoenix owns the tiebreaker there, I believe, because I think they beat the Warriors like
3 times.
Yeah. So that's the problem, in that if the Warriors had the tiebreaker, I think they could actually get there. But because they won't, then they're probably not getting there. But at the same time, if you do get to 4 or 5, it's going to be the Suns. So you're basically saying we want to play the Suns.
Mm-hmm.
The Clippers being a half a game above them, I kind of feel like I'd rather play.
I have an opinion. I think I have it locked and loaded too.
Chris Paul never beats us. That's the only thing I'm hanging on to is Chris Paul hasn't beat Steph since 13.
I also think if there's a round that you want to see Phoenix in, I think it's the first round when they're still trying to figure out what their team looks like.
Do you want to get to the King? I don't know. Getting to the Grizzlies might be the best thing right now. I don't know. They're all the teams are good, right? The Warriors, there's no gimme in the first round for them, no matter who they play. If you get to 4, you're still playing the Suns. If you get to 5, you're playing the Suns. If you get to 6, you're playing the Kings. If you stuck at 7, you're playing the Grizzlies. There's no gimme. So it's really who you prefer from a matchup perspective.
Yeah, I honestly I don't know if this is a shocking take, but I actually don't want to see the Kings in the first round. I think that, you know, we don't know what's happening with Wiggins. Let's say he comes back at the end of the season. We saw what happened this season when he came back from that long injury. It took him about 3 to 4 games to get back into that one game that he played really well against the Wizards. Then he disappeared again. So we don't actually even know if he would have had if he was back. You know, he just had one really good game. So I think that there's going to be who's the team that's probably going to at least scheme the best against us as from a coaching perspective. It's probably Mike Brown. It's probably going to be the coach of the year, even though the Kings have bad defense. Like I think Mike Brown is going to, you know, coach his ass off in that series. And if there's a, you know, I don't want to see a team that's been has insane cohesion and has been playing together all season with little to no injuries in the first round, specifically when we're trying to find our stuff. We're trying to still find out what our best lineups are. We probably know what our best lineup is with that starting unit, but our second and third and fourth best lineups, I don't want to be figuring that out against a team who has their 10 best lineups already figured out.
But they may also be the butt cheeks Kings, though, because they've never been in this moment, right? Like, you know, it's funny. Marcus and Slater made a thing that I didn't even think about, which is if you play Sacramento, what is the percentage of Warriors fans that are in that building?
I don't know, actually.
40%.
So Sacs fan, yeah, I would probably lean towards 30. I think. How many like diehard loyal Warriors fans are there at Chase? Like not that many, right? It just feels like it's the rich people that in San Francisco that maybe that's speculation, but I feel like I've been to some games that I don't know. It just feels like that Kings arena just feels louder. Did you hear that? Did they boost the speakers on that Mavs arena last night?
I don't know.
It feels like the audio just like went over the dB limit. It was just for like I don't know. But and then I think another reason for the Kings is definitely the travel.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to go from San Francisco to Memphis. You literally just drive. And
yeah.
I know that would be way easier on our players, their bodies. So I think there's definitely a lot of pluses to seeing Sacramento, which you've brought up in the sense of like a team that's never been to the playoffs with this current regime. That's never happened where in at least the past since I've been watching basketball, where a team that's never been to the playoffs with their unit goes and wins a title. You know, they might win a couple games, but you know, I have a couple things for them. Like Kings fans are always talking about like, oh, our offensive rating, it's the best of all time. It's been the best of all time. That's been broken every single season for the past 7 seasons, just because offense is becoming so much easier. I don't know about easier, but it's just more tailored to offensive games. So the Kings have the best offensive rating of all time. Impressive. But last year, there was the best offensive rating of all time. The year before that, someone broke the best offensive rating of all time. I think the second best offensive rating of all time is the KD year where he had his foot on the line against the Bucks, you know? And then also De'Aaron Fox has the most clutch points of all time. That means they're in a lot of clutch games if he has to make a lot of points. So the top 5 clutch players of all time. I know the players, I forget the years. I believe it was Damian Lillard year after the bubble. It was DeMar DeRozan last year. It was Joel Embiid the year after the bubble or last year. I'm just naming all these players that they all lost in the first or second round.
Yep.
Because if your team is going to so many clutch games and so many close games, odds are when you get to the playoffs, the team that's not getting to that many close games and they're winning out more are probably going to beat you. The defense is going to settle in and they're probably going to beat you in the clutch. I don't know. I think Sacramento can be beaten pretty easily. I think they can get to the second round. And I think whoever plays them in the second round is going to beat them. I just, as a Warriors fan, I don't know if I want to see them in the first round as we're trying to figure our stuff out still. I think I'd rather see the Suns, which sounds like crazy. Like, who wants to see KD in the first round? Because they're still trying to figure out what they got going. They don't know.
It's not even KD. Book has killed them this year.
Yeah, he has.
That would be the other thing. But they do not have the Steph stopper anymore in Mikal Bridges. So that is a difference.
Steph is cooking.
Whatever the first round matchup is for the Warriors, it's probably gonna be the best matchup in all of the playoffs because they're gonna be playing a really good team and there's gonna be a storyline in every situation. With the Kings, it's the little brother against the big brother storyline from the Northern California teams.
It's the what's that movie that you like? The UFC movie.
What's the UFC movie?
It's with the guy who plays Venom. Tom
Hardy. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What's that one called?
You showed me that one. Called. Yeah, I think did we go see it in theaters? That might be the only time I ever saw it though. Yeah, and then with the Grizzlies, it's the Grizzlies, they are also kind of the little brother, but in a different way, in that they talk like they're going to win, and
they want it so badly.
Smack them around, and look, I think Jaren Jackson is the new player that the Warriors just cannot defend, and he just creates so much frustration for them. So last year he was really good, but Draymond would just get him in foul trouble a lot, and he'd have to come out of the game. And he looks like a more mature player this year, but he also still has to stay on the court. And then, of course, Phoenix, you have Durant, you have CP, and that would be bonkers for the NBA. I think that's what the NBA is probably rooting for, is that series.